Welcome to our tub. Come on in. It's warm inside, and there's always room for more.
This podcast contains adult material and is intended for mature audiences only. If you're under 18, grab your rubber ducky and find another tub. This one's not for you. Hello and welcome back in the tub for episode 132. I'm Mr. Berg.
And I'm Mrs. Berg.
And this week again, well,
you get to hear a lot of us.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of conversations. It was definitely a crazy week, as we keep saying, a lot going on, but we're trying to catch up on home projects for the last few weeks, doing a bunch of different things. And kind of working on lining up some interviews and getting some things done. So, yeah, again, this week, we're going to hop into some different message boards, have some conversations, and, kind of give our take on some of these questions, comments, and conversations happening on some of the lifestyle message boards, in the Reddit world, and a few other places. So sit back, relax, and boy, if you listeners have anything to add, as we've said in the past, don't hesitate to hit us up, thebergs@innertub.com, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. So again, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 132 in the tub. All right, welcome back. Episode 132, Message Board Fun. Before we get into that, did just want to, once again, some changes with the ASN Lifestyle Magazine Awards that we had talked about leading up to them occurring this coming weekend, based on when this show airs. We will not be attending. Some changes to it. Some things happened. There was a change of venue, and now those awards are in Maryland on Friday evening. The hotel takeover part of it that was supposed to be is not happening in the Poconos, so we're not making a trip out east. We are going to head out of town this weekend, so look for some shenanigans there. That is still up in the air, leaning definitely toward heading up north to the Great White, to Toronto, and possibly the X Club. Just haven't finalized that yet. So, again, check our social medias. We'll be posting that. If you're up north, hey, maybe we'll see you in Toronto, eh?
All right, so what are we starting with?
All right. So this, as we kind of scroll down and are learning more of the Reddit world, there is some great conversations and some other ones you kind of, okay, is this someone fishing? Is this real? It really is a head scratcher on some of them. Some of them you look at and you're like, yeah, I'm calling bullshit. This post here, though, comes from another creator, and we've actually listened to them in the past. The Wanderlust Swinger podcast out of Australia. And the topic comes from them, and it really grew. What did we say? There were over 230 comments.
Right.
Within 5 days of this topic being put out there in a subreddit.
And I think most of them were that the day it was posted.
Yeah. And again, because that comes right up to the top of your list when you hop on. But it is, there's no wrong way. But I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of different takes on this question the scenario, the situation, how it is approached, handled, addressed by both parties.
Or all parties.
Yes. Yeah. Or it could be all parties. Exactly. Not just two different parties, two different couples, meaning. So, Mrs., what's the original post?
So, tagline is one penis policy. A red flag? Within the lifestyle community, various dynamics and rules can emerge, one of which is the one penis policy, or OPP.
And that ain't the OPP from back in our 90s days.
No. The one penis policy typically refers to a situation...
Well, actually, it kind of is.
Huh?
Because we are talking about OPP and OPP.
Yes.
It's double OPP. I'm just saying.
The one penis policy typically refers to a situation where a male partner in a couple wishes to engage with other women but is uncomfortable or unwilling for his female partner to be with other men. In essence, the policy allows for female same-sex encounters and threesomes with additional women, but not for the female partner to engage with other males. Is this a red flag? Let's discuss.
So, and again, it says, is it a red flag? So my take is initially, and we're going to go down and read some of these things, but is it a red flag up front if it's initially discussed? Because that situation, you shouldn't. If that's the situation, then you're really not looking for a couple. I think really is what that comes down to.
Right. Right, but I've also seen a couple of posts on here about people asking if it was unethical to ask a couple if they could just play with the wife because they couldn't find the quote-unquote unicorn.
Well, and that's where it comes to communication. So,
Right.
Yeah, let's go down again and go through some of this conversation because it is very interesting. There are a lot of different takes.
Mm-hmm. So I like this the very first comment. I believe anything that is happening with open communication, mutual agreement, and adults consenting is fine.
Mm-hmm.
You are allowed to dislike it. You are allowed to be okay with it. You can choose to engage or not. However, it is entirely rude to give false impressions that a full swap will happen, for example, and then in the moment mention your OPP. This means there was bad communication, and that can be a red flag. People should be able to withdraw consent at all times, though doing so in a polite and respectful way is helpful. People can ask for any kind of sex, though doing so in a polite and respectful way is helpful. Be kind about being rejected. It's part of the game.
And that is where my agreement comes in, because from the standpoint of myself being on the other end, if we hooked up with someone and we're kind of playing and then turned around at a point and the female said, oh, well, no, I can't do. We had that situation.
Yeah.
That situation occurred.
Right.
In our home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was like, well, wait a minute. We had met this couple a couple times at a local club. This particular night, we kind of went out. We met at the casino, had some drinks. We came back to our place, had some drinks, hopped into the hot tub. We kind of got out, and there was just kind of a little like flirty touching. And out of like, and as we were standing in the, in the dining room kind of bar area, she was like, well, hey, we both want to play with her and you can just watch. And I'm like,
Bye, Felicia.
the fuck we are. Get your clothes. Thank you very much. It's been fun. Like, where did this come from? And literally the whole time leading up, it was about, full swap. That's what we do. This, that, everything. And this hit, it was just like, whoa, hey, no, that ain't how it works. We were kind of straight up and forward.
There's the door.
Yeah. And yeah, that kind of ended that night pretty quickly. So again, I agree with that. Let's, have that conversation up front. And if that changes midstream, well then, yeah, no, not happening.
Right. Okay, so this one comment kind of addresses what we were talking about before we turned this on. I often wonder, just to get it clear, what is the difference between FMF and FFM, and also MFM and MMF? Can you explain? The placement of the letters indicates the type of hookups desired. FMF, for example, indicates a desire for two women, but more contact with the man than each other. FFM would indicate more female-female action going on. Only one woman would have significant contact with the male. Ditto MMF and MFM. One indicates a desire for more male-male interaction. One indicates the woman takes center stage. So that clears that up.
Yeah.
I mean, I asked you before we started recording because I wasn't sure. So, let's see what else.
Well, and again, so into this next, and this was the, I guess, excuse me, one of the comments and responses that you had pulled up in the initial conversation. And so, and this is, I guess, this is where you walk the gray line. It says, this is sort of where my husband and I are in this adventure. It is not outwardly stated, but he is still having a hard time with me being, in parentheses, he loves the fantasy or idea of it with another man. Although his original desire for that exact scenario was what prompted the discussion and investigating the lifestyle. Okay, so he has a hard time with her, but that was the conversation that started it. We have a female friend we've played with, and I encourage him to see solo as well. This is the only swinging we've done. This, in turn, to me, is a poly relationship, where the male half of the relationship is poly, because he has a girlfriend. That's essentially, that's
right.
And here's where it gets me
a little gray.
It gets gray. The waters get muddy. Mm-hmm. It says, I'm hoping by allowing him to be with other females, as well as male females, threesomes, and engage in that fantasy for him, he will see that the connection or feelings he has with them is not changing the feelings he has for me. That he would not want to replace me. They are, in addition to, I truly feel he is afraid of me wanting to run off with someone else after a sexual encounter. I'm hoping by him having the experience, he would understand that the feeling is different, or at least I hope so. He still is here and hasn't left. So it gives a background. Long married couple, mid-50s, married 28 years. it started the journey 3 years ago.
With very little journeying.
And yes, essentially with nothing but him playing. Yes, it says there has been some threesomes with her, but no additional male. And for us, it seems not to be a red flag with others. If we've not gotten that deep into conversation with another couple he has been interested in yet. Once again, for me, just reading this, I think that scenario would be a red flag because they haven't got deep into conversations with a couple he is interested in. It to me doesn't, that's not the lifestyle, quote unquote. That is a polyamorous relationship, which is still the lifestyle as we talk about the spider web and everything.
Right, but only one person is truly steering the boat.
Yes, it's rowing one way.
Maybe in circles.
Yeah, and so I think that, when it comes to that, and if that conversation were to ever occur, it has to occur very early on.
Right.
Again, because that's leading people on, as you look, and if you go to a club, look, you're there for something specific. You don't want to kind of drag on and then find out end of the night when you're about ready to play. Sorry, we're with, you're a couple, we're a couple, but yeah, he ain't playing with me. Mm-hmm. Well, my take on that personally is going to be like, well, the fuck? I would have said, hey, it's been great meeting you. Enjoy yourself. Good
hours
luck
ago.
to you. Hours the hell ago. And went to find someone else to chat with.
Mm-hmm. Right. So here's another one. If the female in the couple likes the arrangement, good for them. If she doesn't and wants to have sex with more men, but her man is not allowing that, that's a red flag. Ask him to stop having sex with other women. Say you're uncomfortable with them. If he creates a fuss or cheats on you, that is 100% the mother of all red flags.
Okay. Here is another one. And this is actually an interesting take.
But that comment actually kind of goes to that last one you just read.
Yeah.
Like, what would happen if she said, I don't want you to play with... unless it's with me too, or
sure, yeah, exactly. So, she needs to. I mean, again, and we're not going into that their situation because, again, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. All the more power. That's the best part of the lifestyle. Is there's something for everybody. This one here, just this comment, and the way it's broken down and worded, actually got me thinking when I read it. And it says, red flag, to me, generally means there is some sort of deception at play. Okay, fair. A red flag is saying, wait a minute, something's not right. Something's not right in the relationship, XYZ, whatever. Male says he's single and turns out he's married, purposely not disclosing a known STI, etc. Okay,
right.
Those are red flags.
Right.
This is not a red flag. It's a policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than a no kissing policy or anything else you can think of. Okay?
Right.
And fair, yes. Mm-hmm. Disagreeing with a couple's policy doesn't make them red flags. It makes you incompatible. And that's, I think, kind of what I had said early on. It's just one of those policies that you better communicate up front.
Right. That's what I was going to say. As long as it's disclosed at the right time.
And it comes down to communication.
Right. I mean, I don't want to say like put it in your profile, but maybe it should be.
Well, and again, I mean, that as well is going to come down to, hey, what are you here for? What are you looking for?
Right.
All right, well, that better be the first thing that
Right.
comes out of your mouth.
Right, but to compare it to a no kissing policy, like, that's something that a lot of people do put,
Yeah,
or
yes.
are more upfront about.
Exactly. That's what it is. They're more upfront about that.
So it shouldn't be treated any differently,
No.
but people do.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I think this it's interesting. If people are seeing more of it, again, I don't know. Yes, we had that one situation, but we've not run into anything like that again since then. And that was a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know that we've had conversations that anything like that has really come up.
I mean, honestly, like, really? Doesn't that, I was going to say, doesn't that kind of make them more soft?
No, no, because the male is still having like in this, like the guy has free reign.
Yeah.
No, that's not soft. That essentially is polyamory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one-sided polyamory where the guy has free reign to play and do, and the female can, have female play together with her significant other, but no one else.
Right.
Again,
There's
again,
a comment that says if they have that policy, they're going after single females. So why do you care?
I said that earlier as well.
I mean, if that's the case, fine.
Yeah. At the same
No wife
time,
poaching though.
But at the same time, man, fucking unicorn is a mythical freaking creature.
Mm-hmm. In real life and in the lifestyle.
Yes, everywhere. So from that standpoint, yeah, you got to look from the couple end because that unicorn is so few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But, well...
What now?
Well, with that, I think we're going to take a short break here. And when we come back, we're going to hop into some other discussions and kind of wrap this episode up. Mm-hmm. So, again, we'll be back in a brief moment.
This episode is brought to you by Cassidy.com. Have you ever wished there was an all-encompassing way to find sexy, like-minded people in your area? Well, Cassidy has hit that on the head. The Cassidy platform brings the best of sexy social media, profile searches, rendezvous, party calendars, and travel all into one. Find and make new friends, share your naughtiest of pictures with select friends in your Backstage Pass, and plan your next naughty encounter all at once. Follow the Cassidy link in our tub to try it out free for 30 days. When you join, you'll be added to our community to get some early sneak peeks. You'll also be first to know where you may find us out and about.
All right. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a chance to, fill their cocktails if they weren't, if you're not driving. And we are back for this half, and we're hopping into a lifestyle forum now. And we're about to breach something that we've really never discussed on this show. And this question on this forum, not wrong,
No.
I don't think.
No.
I feel definitely is something that the initial question is accurate. And it is a stigma that is still looked at negatively, which is why you don't see it.
Right.
However, it's there. I know there are clubs that don't want to have this discussion, that don't want to see it, that don't, it just doesn't come up.
True.
So, here is the original post. And we're going to delve into this a little bit and have open discussions. Says, as I enjoy browsing profiles, it's encouraging to see more and more couples who guy is listing as bi or bi-curious. I see an openness beginning to emerge within the lifestyle that hasn't always been there. And I'm also seeing that more men are beginning to list as bi because they see no need to hide their true sexuality. And obviously, more women are becoming more acceptable of their guys' bi desires and are turned on by male play. I envy all who can share that with their lady. And to all those women who are accepting of their man's bi desires, you're a very special woman, and your man should cherish you. So, as I said, I've seen more and more profiles that do list that
Right.
as preference. So the question is it becoming, obviously it's becoming more accepted if more of it is being posted.
Well, and if you look at one of the comments, I think this person does have a valid point. The comment says, I guess, but there are major issues still on this website and many others in how bisexuals are treated between the sexes. While couples might be treated better, it is still a struggle for those who are still single currently.
Fair.
I mean, it's not right, but I think it's true.
Yes, I would tend to say so. The single side of it, I would think it's all right. Hey, if we talk to this person, it's going to be expected, or how far. There's unknowns.
Right.
In a couple setting, I think people are accepting because there's other alternatives to.
Right. I see. I get where you're going.
Yeah. And at the same time, there's the difference between, again, there's so many labels anymore that sometimes just drive me nuts. You're bi-curious, you're bi-passive, you're bi-comfortable. We've had those discussions, and you see a lot of that with females. So what exactly does it mean? And we've talked about that on a previous episode. But from a guy's standpoint, I've really, I think, only ever seen bi-comfortable, bi-curious, or bi. And I guess my take is bi comfortable and bi curious are almost one in the same. But in the male side of things, you do have, and I've seen that before, but however, no websites, no swingers site have I seen where it's actually has a category as bi oral.
Right.
Because that can be a real thing, and I want to say that a lot of men are fine with that, but
Or
no,
could
be
Right.
but no farther than that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think there's more acceptance in some areas,
But not across the board.
but it definitely is not across the board. Again, I know there are clubs that are pretty strict, cut and dry. No, not in public. We don't want this to occur, but especially not in public. So as we scroll down through some of these responses, saw a definite increase in messages and emails when we changed the male status to bi. Much of the interest came from couples where the hub is listed as straight. Didn't regret our status change. So where is... I think that says something there. If it's a straight couple that's, do you wait to flip that switch? Is that, where does that come from?
Right. Right. That's the question is, how many...
Is it fear?
Right. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it.
I would agree.
Because look at it. Like, honestly, no matter which one of those by whatever descriptors you listed for women, that's always been looked at as, oh, that's hot. That's,
Yeah. And that's, we've talked about that before as well. That's almost the
teenage wet dream.
But there's so much of that standard and that expectation within the lifestyle that in so many situations, in every situation that we have ever been in,
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, and there probably is, that the situation didn't begin with you and the other female flirting, dancing, kissing, touching. Not one really hits out to me at the point that it didn't just start separated. Outside of a soft swap situation. And I think even some of those, there was some, but from the female side, you're right. It's always been accepted and hot and done.
Right.
From the male side, not so much at all. It's been looked at as that taboo side.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are people, both male and female, that look and say, all right, maybe that's hot. Maybe that's a turn on.
Right.
Is that number growing? It obviously is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at a few other ones. Here's one. Posting as "buy now." We get double the inquiries we used to. Some ladies enjoy seeing two guys blowing each other as a turn on. Not to mention the guys enjoying themselves. We're very selective who fits our desirability. We've had our most memorable hookups with hot bi men. Okay, so here's someone else that is saying, hey, we made the change.
The next one. We agree. It seems that the stigma has significantly diminished recently. Of course, it could just be that everyone is COVID horny.
So, and yes, so this post did start, initially did start a little while ago. And we're actually getting to some more recent comments. So this post definitely is about 2.5 years old, the first one. But there's been a lot of chatter over the last couple weeks and months as well. So, all right. I recently posted my wife as bi, which she is. I've considered posting myself as bi-curious, which I am if we can meet the right couple. We enjoy same bed and interactions with sexy couples. Since we started swinging, we have come out of our shell and have a lot of desires. So it looks if we use the word bi, we will get more inquiries. It seems like that is really the conversation. So this one's interesting. Myself and my wife started swinging in early 2000. I had no bi desire. In 2005, she said she wanted me with a guy while she watched. We went to a house party, and she discussed with the host couple her fantasy of me and another guy. He came into the room where my wife was, and without asking, just started sucking me. It felt too good to say stopped. To this date, I have never come so hard and so much. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and it grew to literally, I am now fully bi. We went 5 years before I would post that I was bi. I've been shunned and blocked, but at the same time, I had people who never showed interest message afterwards. Again, it's opening up another door.
Ooh, there's a new classification listed in there.
Where's that at?
It's in that same one you were just reading.
Oh, did I skip over something?
I list myself as bi, but I call myself swinger bi, which means I don't meet male only. So they only meet male, female. Or I host a girl boy bi party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly. So it's not. It's not just a solo, and I think even when you get into females, you can, yes, you're bi, but there's the male aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And, so from the female side, okay. If you're bi-curious, you still need that dual avenue of it. Have gotten more contacts. It just continues. More contacts. We've switched to bi, and more people have reached out.
But there's also been a few that say that it wasn't easy at first.
And I can imagine that, and I can see where there would be, yes, some people are going to, it's going to be the what the fuck. If you know somebody, if it's a couple that you've played with before, even from a male standpoint, if you don't cross that line, I mean, doesn't need to happen. That needs to be a consent, a conversation. And I think that's where the struggle comes in. And that's where, in the heat of the moment, if a guy has that, well, then you just don't do it. But how do you put yourself out there and at the end of the day, not be afraid of being ridiculed?
Okay. Bi does not have to mean you are going to be romantically attached to a man or have to be turned on looking at a man. It just gives freedom when sharing your wife to not worry about who gets touched. A bi man won't freak out if you take hold of his cock to guide it into her pussy, or spread lube on his cock to help her take the extra cock if she doesn't have as much natural lube because of age. If she asks a bi guy to help her suck cock, not a big deal. My wife is turned on by me touching the other man's cock. Bi adds extra pleasure channels to the time spent pleasing all involved.
Makes total sense. I mean, I've been at that point in our first threesome where I actually literally said that at one point. I was like, look, either you're putting the cock in her or I'm going to grab it and I'm going to put it in there, and I ain't got no problems with doing that shit. No, that was the heat of the moment and freaking,
right.
I all wound up. But you know what? Hey, it just, from that, what that says, all right? Hey, if you're comfortable enough with your sexuality, here you are. Mm-hmm. So, where else are we going? There was definitely a very... Oh, go ahead.
So this is in response to the one that I just read. And it quotes, a bi man won't freak out if you take his cock and guide it into her pussy, whatever. Not all straight guys would either, so long as the focus was on satisfying the woman. But I do get it being more of a no-brainer if the guy is bi. I do also know that some wives get turned on by seeing their guy play with other guys, so that would pretty much disqualify me. Even if I did allow it, there'd be no point when it's so blatantly obvious that someone just wasn't aroused by that kind of play. Just a case of you like what you like.
And again, that's fair. That's why the lifestyle is something for everyone. And yeah, sometimes, a lot of times, all the time, if there's something that you're not into that occurs, yeah, you're going to lose that blood flow. Mm-hmm. At the same time, there may be something that you're like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. What the hell just happened there? I wasn't aware of that. And the blood flow increases. To each their own. Everybody has to figure that out. And not be afraid of repercussions from one or two if it's going to increase the positives from others.
Right.
So, here we go. I understand people posting bi or bi couples might scare off potential male partners. If they are curious or new to the concept, some men are looking for bi oral. Me, for one, would be interested in bi oral with a guy if we both hit it off. Not anal with a guy at this point. This language could be a deal breaker. My wife is bi and loves the taste of another woman or the woman tasting her. We report as being straight as we do not want to scare off potential play partners. Yes, more and more guys are posting bi. As we get into the actual act of swinging with someone, our inhibitions are lowered. We get horny and may be willing to try more things with the opposite sex. Just some discussion. And again, a lack of inhibitions.
Right, but I don't get... why do they both list straight if she's bi? Because like for me, like we're listed as bi, but or I'm listed as bi, but it's not a deal breaker if the other woman isn't.
And no, it isn't. And I think that is,
Yes, it's a benefit to me. It adds to it, but it doesn't,
And just as you said that, I think that is the concern and the fear of a guy posting bi, because for some, for someone straight, it's like, nope. That's a deal breaker for them, just seeing that, because that is the perception of it. And actually, but I think this next response leads to this. And this caught my eye when I was reading through this. So, this right here.
Oh, this is the one that I was like, wow, that reads like a textbook.
But again, I think this is some of the underlying fear.
Oh, sure.
Without a doubt, because you heard this. The 80s AIDS scare, all the STIs, all of that. So let's deal with the facts. This is not directed at anyone here in particular. For anyone saying there's a lot of closeted bisexual guys out there having unprotected sex, does a disservice. Makes a big assumption, helps to propel a myth, and must be put in the context of lifestyle people and the general population. Please read below. And what it is a transcript from the National Institute of Health. It says the Institute of Health reports their studies show approximately 25% of bisexual men have unprotected sex versus 46% of women. And the majority of bisexual men are reported to not engage in anal or unprotected anal intercourse. The STI prevalence of bisexual men is no higher than the general population of heterosexuals in the U.S. That is pretty, and that right there, because when you hear so much about STIs and risk, so much of it goes to bi or gay men.
Right.
It says, in addition,
yeah, don't read all
this
that.
guy, blah, blah, blah,
It's
blah.
another, right.
Yeah.
It's another study.
Yeah. The centers, from the Public Health Center for LGBT Research. The total number, not percentage,
right,
with HIV in each population of bisexual and heterosexual men is roughly equal.
Is roughly equal.
Is roughly equal.
Women who have sex with men are about as likely to encounter a heterosexual HIV positive man as they are to encounter a bisexual HIV positive man. Decades of unchallenged assumptions about the behavior of bisexual people, especially bisexual men, has created a complicated, multi-layered closet that makes being honest about one's HIV status or sexual orientation difficult. The context in which bisexual men are discussed in mainstream media has been confined largely to HIV bridging since the advent of the epidemic.
I didn't even read that before I said it at the beginning of this conversation. Holy shit, look at me like doctored and shit.
I was going too fast. Some things are good fast, some things aren't. So there's 30 years of this undercurrent that bisexual men are responsible for HIV in women without other competing social narratives.
There you have it. And again, I didn't get that far down into this post. As I kind of talked at the beginning when I started discussing this, is that one of the biggest underliers. The concern, the risk, what? Oh, Christ. What mainstream fucking media has programmed into our heads?
Right. I mean,
And it is. You know what? We're into a political election year, all that stuff. This shit drives me fucking insane. I don't get into politics. I don't get into any of that. Mainstream media fucking everything up. And I mean, it's right here in a medical journal.
right.
And that's where this came from. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah. I mean, and not to discount that HIV isn't still out there.
it
But-
is nowhere near as prevalent.
Right.
It's understood. It's protected. It's watched. So, yeah, it's nowhere near as prevalent. And, to label, that's where it comes down to. It comes down to the labeling that has kind of changed that. So, again, to see it grow, we talk about sexual positivity, embracing yourself, being happy with it. Hey, if that's you, if it's something that makes sense, guess what? We have a lot of bisexual, gay, trans friends that we've made within the lifestyle, within the adult entertainment industry. And they are phenomenal. They're great people. Hey, live your life and be you. You should not be afraid of living that in fear.
Right.
And overcoming that stigma, again, as we see it more in the lifestyle, more acceptance or more just out there, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that, we wrap up today's episode.
Right. And I mean, honestly, like when going back to the HIV, the whole HIV thing, like, I mean, the lifestyle isn't, at least to me, I mean, sure, there are people that approach it this way, but it's not just promiscuous, like, hook up with somebody you don't know,
Well, it is, but I think the whole HIV, and that it started in the 80s.
right.
With, gay and bisexual men, and it's just kind of continued. It's just continued to go and go and go over the years, and anytime you see any reports, anything like that, that's what it targets.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the mainstream media as well, targeting a group of people because of their sexuality.
Right.
When you really break down the numbers, and according to this, well, it's kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, fine. That, back in the 80s, that might have been when it was the newest, when it hit the public, and it was really there and exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And through education and conversation and, and modern medicine, well, here we are. It's not that, it's not what it was. Nowhere near.
No, not with the advances in modern medicine.
Yeah. And the education, so again, it is what it is. The, overall, the openness is becoming more accepted in the lifestyle. We are seeing it more. You're seeing people identify that way. And as we've said, the lifestyle is about expressing yourself and doing what makes you feel good and be happy. So just fucking do it, and don't worry about what others kind of how others are going to look at you, because it could open more doors.
And I think it's not so much that they now identify, but are more open to revealing that.
Yeah, not as afraid, more comfortable of revealing it. So again, I think we're going to wrap up this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Again, you can hear this on inourtub.com, all major audio podcast platforms at 9 a.m. on Mondays and 1 p.m. on Fridays on fullswapradio.com. You can follow us on our social medias, Twitter and Instagram, Berg Couple for Fun. The Bergs on Twitter and Reddit. May have some shenanigans coming up this weekend. As I said, we're looking to get out of town. And, may end up in Toronto and at the X Club to check the place out. Summer's winding down. Wow. We're 2 weeks away from the end of summer holiday. School's back in. From my end, I'll just say, you know what? Hey, especially in the U.S., school buses are back on the road. Don't be assholes. Freaking slow the hell down. Leave a little earlier for work. School sports, all that stuff. It's a busy time of the year. So enjoy the rest of what summer has to offer you.
Yeah, our weather changed quickly today.
Hey, it cooled off a little bit. Air conditioners open,
air conditioners off. Windows are open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They knew what I meant.
How much have you drank during this? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Bourbon and a beer. So, and it wasn't a shot of bourbon. So, I'm due for a shot. One bourbon, one shot, one beer. And again, yeah, as the summer winds down, take some time for yourself. Kids are back in school. Gets a little hectic, gets a little crazy, more running happening. Next up on our list after this weekend will be Exotica in New Jersey at the end of October. Gosh, it still feels like a long way away, but shit, is time flying. So we're going to start getting geared up for that here real soon once we get back from this little weekend getaway. Remember to pay for your porn. Support all of the friends, the guests, past, future, present, all of that in-betweens. Remember to wrap it before you tap it. Lick it before you stick it. And until next time,
we'll keep the lights on and the tub warm for you.